Still missing tonight, Jacob Wetterling, age 11. This was one more day of agony for St. Joseph, Minnesota, population 3,200. The kind of place where you don't expect a child to be kidnapped at gunpoint.
It was Sunday night, just before 9 p.m., on the 22nd of October, 1989. Brothers Jacob Wetterling, 11, and Trevor Wetterling, 10, along with their friend, Aaron Larson, 11, had cycled out to a convenience store, situated in St. Joseph, Minnesota, to rent a video for them to watch that night. The road wasn't well lit, so the boys brought along a flashlight to help illuminate their way home. Hardly 1 mile from their destination, a masked man holding a gun leaps out and orders them to stop. He then tells the boys to throw their bikes into a nearby ditch, before ordering them to lie face down on the ground. After learning their ages, the masked man instructs Trevor, Jacob's younger brother, to run towards the woods, telling him not to look back, or he will shoot. He then asks the remaining 2 boys, Jacob and Aaron, to turn around so that he could look at their faces. The masked man orders Aaron to run towards the woods, giving him the same verbal threat he did with Trevor, not to look back or he will shoot. He then handcuffs Jacob, before forcing him into his car. In May 2014, in the years preceding Jacob Wetterling's abduction, investigators were taking another look at a collection of child molestation cases that occurred in the Painesville area. Over that period, 5 teenage boys were known to have been attacked. But unfortunately, no one was ever arrested for these crimes. The police, once again, interviewed some of the victims. But after months of research, investigators theorized that these were not random attacks. Then, the police gets a hit on an unsolved child molestation case that dates back to 1989. The case of then 12-year-old Jared Shirel. DNA found on Jared matched the DNA of a prior suspect by the name of Danny Heinrich. Back in December 1989, Danny Heinrich was interviewed by the FBI. But due to the lack of evidence, he was never charged with a crime. After obtaining a sample of his DNA, he was released. Unfortunately, after 26 years, the statute of limitations had expired for Jared, which meant that Danny Heinrich could not be arrested, nor charged with this crime. However, armed with a search warrant to search Danny Heinrich's home, police discovers his collection of child pornography, later leading to his arrest on the 28th of October 2015. Then, Danny Heinrich confesses to kidnapping and murdering Jacob Wetterling.
Good evening. A stunning cold case confession today in Minnesota appears to bring a 27-year-old murder mystery that gripped the nation to an end, as a family that has lived with decades of anguish and uncertainty finally learned what happened to their little boy. Jacob Wetterling was just 11 years old when he was kidnapped and killed. Today, with Jacob's parents among those inside a packed courtroom, the man who said he did it described in graphic detail what happened that October day in 1989.
He enters into a plea bargain and agrees to cooperate with the investigation. As part of his plea bargain, Danny Heinrich agreed to testify, revealing the details relating to Jacob Wetterling's death. Also, he would have to plead guilty to only one of the numerous child pornography charges the state had against him. On the 1st of September 2016, Danny Heinrich leads police to a burial site, where they unearthed skeletal remains. Days later, on the 3rd of September, the remains was positively identified as Jacob Wetterling. Patty Wetterling states afterwards. All I can confirm is that Jacob has been found, and our hearts are broken. I am not responding to any media yet, as I have no words.
After almost 27 years, Danny Heinrich was willing to talk, and we had to grab the moment.
Danny Heinrich explains. They drove towards Painesville, turning onto a gravel pitch. After ordering Jacob to get undressed, he proceeds to molest him. When Danny Heinrich was all done, Jacob tells him that he is cold. He allows Jacob to get dressed. But then, he hears over his police scanner that the search for Jacob was underway. Panicked, Danny decides to kill Jacob. He asks Jacob to turn around, telling him that he needed some privacy, as he wanted to relieve himself. Danny Heinrich then grabs his gun, points it at Jacob's head, and pulls the trigger. But Jacob is still standing. So he shoots him again. This time, Jacob finally drops to the ground. Danny Heinrich leaves, but returns shortly afterwards to bury the body. During sentencing, Judge Tunheim said, "We won't pretend that this crime and sentence is about child pornography. It is also about changing the lives of so many children and parents, who prayed for Jacob's return, and also feared you coming out of the dark. Every child knows the story of Jacob Wetterling. You stole the innocence of children in small towns, in the cities of Minnesota and beyond." Danny Heinrich received the maximum sentence allowed. 20 years behind bars. Danny Heinrich could be released after only serving 17 years. But Judge Tunheim told him that it was highly unlikely, saying, "This crime is so heinous, so brutal and awful that it is unlikely society will ever let you go free." Sean.